My name's John Kain. I wear a couple of hats, but for these purposes, there are two that are relevant. First is I'm chairman of the Kain Foundation, which was founded back in 2005. And secondly, I'm the managing director of Kain Lawyers, which was founded in 2004. So the Kain Foundation began back in 2005. It grew out of Kain Lawyers. Kain Lawyers was established in 2004. One of the three pillars upon which it was built was to create opportunities for the community, and in particular for children and youth who are at risk of falling through the cracks. And the foundation was established by Kain Lawyers to fulfil that pillar of the business, that objective of the business, with a view to it actually doing two things. One is addressing need in the community, but the other was also to impact the lives of those who were generously donating their time and their money to those ends. So we very much believed then and believe now that it's important to create something more than a financial transaction, to have the people who support the projects actually genuinely personally invested in them, and creating that emotional connection not only enriches their lives and hopefully sustains their individual commitments to supporting the community, it also sustains greater longevity in our ability to support projects. So that was the genesis of the Kain Foundation. It runs two projects to support youth. One is a Northern Opportunities project in Adelaide, and the other is a project in Uganda, which is a separate story altogether. So the focus on youth, children and youth, grew out of a consensus struck back in 2005 by the Kain Lawyers team that was the area of need in the community upon which they wish to focus, and we've steadfastly stuck to that ever since. The focus in the northern suburbs of Adelaide came about 5 years ago. We were running a series of disparate programs, or supporting them in conjunction with various service providers, including Youth Opportunities. And we wanted to have a more targeted and more focused and more impactful approach. So we actually researched where the areas of greatest need were in metropolitan Adelaide. And one of the areas of great need was in the northern suburbs of Adelaide, where in some parts the unemployment rate and the youth unemployment rate are amongst the highest in the country. The focus on creating opportunities for children and youth is very much a two-pronged approach. It's creating both educational and economic opportunities. We are great believers in educational opportunity, but we equally believe that educational opportunity in isolation is of limited value. It's absolutely critical that not only are there educational opportunities, but that those educational opportunities also translate into economic opportunities where people can gain employment, or perhaps even better, create their own employment, because it is through that financial independence that and not only financial independence generally, that we are all able to live a dignified life. So in about 2015, when we began work with Youth Opportunities, it was in a relatively isolated way through supporting scholarships that Youth Opportunities was providing to youth. That was one of a number of things that we were doing throughout metropolitan Adelaide and throughout the northern suburbs. As we became more focused on how we design and run a program with more impact, it caused us to look more broadly at the type of program we would like to run. And one of the things that was important in that was a module that helped with the personal and leadership development of youth. So we looked around the country at what were the sort of the gold-plated models in that. And fortuitously, our existing partners, Youth Opportunities, provided that through their personal leadership program. So that was then a very simple decision for us to expand the existing relationship to work with Youth Opportunities as part of the broader Northern Opportunities program. So the Northern Opportunities Partnership is a partnership between the Kain Foundation, Salisbury High School, Youth Opportunities, the Raise Foundation and Kain Lawyers. And it's specifically designed as a program to run over 5 years. So if I perhaps just run through year 8 to year 12, that will give a bit of context as to who's who in the zoo. So year 8 is facilitated. It's really the selection part of the program facilitated by Salisbury High School, where there's an agreed criteria for the students to qualify for the program. And one of the reasons that we are working with Youth Opportunities is that we both the Kain Foundation and Youth Opportunities have a very, very similar target audience. So if I can use a cricket analogy, you have the top order, the middle order and the bottom order. And if you apply that in an educational context, there are some students at the top of the class who are motivated, gifted, and there tend to be extension programs which help them fulfill their potential. The bottom order are those who perhaps struggle a bit more, and there are a lot of support programs to help them and stop them falling too far behind. But sometimes it's the middle order that get lost. So these are children or youth who, they're reasonably capable, they're motivated, they'll get by okay, but they do run a risk that if life throws up some obstacles, and for the areas we're targeting, life unfortunately does throw up some obstacles, they can be derailed and they can become disengaged or dislocated from the system for a short period of time or for a long period of time, which can impact on their longer term opportunities. So both Youth Opportunities and the Kain Foundation are very much focused upon that sort of middle order cohort and trying to help them develop and extend and be as good as they can be and have the support around them so that as life does throw those googlies at it, to continue the cricketing analogy along the way, they're well equipped to deal with them. So that's the sort of cohort that we work with Salisbury High School to select into the program in year 8. In year 9, there is a 20-week mentoring program run by the Raise Foundation in much the same way that we did a lot of research to select Youth Opportunities to work with on the leadership part of the program. The mentoring, we selected Raise as best of breed in youth mentoring. So that runs for 20 weeks over year 9. Then we move into year 10, where Youth Opportunities run their personal leadership program throughout terms 2 and 3, and then continue to provide ongoing remote support, usually by phone or over the web, to students beyond that program. Into year 10, Kain Lawyers runs a program called Prep Me, which is a series of workshops which help the students develop skills to present themselves to the workforce and more broadly in life. Also, sorry, forgive me, that's in year 11. And also in year 11, there's a financial literacy program which is run as well. To complement that, in year 11 and through to year 12, the Kain Foundation funds a series of scholarships through Youth Opportunities where students are supported, and this is consistent with the broader Youth Opportunities Scholarship Program. Students are supported with, it might be tutoring, it might be support for books or computers or those sorts of things. So that's provided in conjunction with Youth Opportunities through years 11 and 12. And then the Kain Foundation in year 11 and 12 look to provide cadetships for the students where they can draw on the skills that they've developed over the 3 or 4 years that they've worked in the Northern Opportunities program and get some hands-on experience in the workforce, because as we all know, it is far easier to find a job if you are employed, and also if you have been employed. And that's not to preclude career opportunities in higher education or through TAFE or apprenticeships, but it's to give some real life practical work experience that equips the students for that. So that's where how the program runs, and where Youth Opportunities plays a really pivotal role through running the personal leadership program through year 10 and the scholarship program through years 11 and 12. The advice I would give any 15-year-old is to have a go, and not just have a go, but have a red hot go and have a go at everything. So often we're exhorted now to do something that you love, which is fine, but you don't actually know what you love unless you try a pile of things, and a lot of those things are things that you won't love. Some of them you actually despise, but through doing them and doing them as well as you possibly can, having a really red hot go at them, the worst thing that can happen out of that is you work out that that's something I don't want to do. And so by having a go at as much as you can and as hard as you can, it will actually allow you to identify what it is that you really love. You don't wake up in the morning and work that out. It's just through hard trial and error. So my sole bit of advice would be have a go, have a red hot go, and have a go at everything.